So I'm Senator Dr. Alice Milgo, Chairperson Standing Committee on Education, Senate. As you all know, ECDE, that is Early Childhood Education Development, is a foundation of education, and it is also a function of the county governments. We are here to look at how the county governments have handled ECDE in terms of infrastructure, in terms of wash materials, and then the environment where the learners have been learned. And as I'm speaking, ECDE centers take on board not only normal children, they are also PWD kids. So when it comes to looking at the environment, we look at everything, and including whether they are sufficient for those kids that are not able to use the normal facilities, infrastructure like the other normal kids. The Standing Committee on Education has already passed a bill last year, 2021, on early childhood education development. That bill is speaking to very many issues on ECDE, and here we are here today to look at how these issues have been handled. And another critical matter that we have been looking at today, the better part of the morning, is the feeding programs that must be in all ECDE centers. When we talk about feeding itself plays a critical role in young kids when it comes to development, because you realize children in early childhood education development are still growing, and so they need food. Sometimes others may not get sufficient and nutritious food, well-balanced diet in their homes, but once they come to school, they'll get some meal at least. And the same meal will become a paid to bring them on board to school, so that the enrollment, you'll realize with food, it goes very high. Our government, the Ministry of Education, and the national government, of course, is talking about 100% transition in education. We cannot achieve this without looking at the foundation of education, that is the early childhood. And in addition to this, apart from feeding program, apart from infrastructure, we have been looking at the scheme of service for teachers teaching in ECDE centers. It is a very critical area. We have got very many petitions coming to the Senate concerning employment and remuneration of ECDE teachers. We have found in Nakuru, for example, they have employed 372 teachers on permanent and pensionable terms, and we have lauded the county for that. We are also encouraging other counties, because without a teacher and remunerating the teacher in the proper manner, the teachers become demoralized, and therefore no proper learning will take place. So apart from ECDE centers that we are coming to look at, we are also looking at vocational education and training. We have also done a bill as a committee that is still under process on vocational education and training, and in a short while, once that bill passes, it is also going to speak to issues management of vocational education and training. As you all know, the national government has given out 15,000 for each vocational education training center to every person that goes training there, and then the county governments also give another 15 to make 30,000. So we are encouraging all our youths to go to the vocational education and training centers. Here, those vocational education and training centers are very critical, especially when it comes to issues, the four-pillar agenda that our government has been talking about. We are also talking about Vision 2030, and we need a lot of skills to be able to achieve that. We are talking about Agenda 2063, and then we are talking about leaving no kid without any means, at least, to reduce the unemployment. We need to have our youths that have not gone to the university, have not gone anywhere, to go to these polytechnics. And then we are also encouraging the county governments to give them a startup capital. During Corona period, for example, we saw various counties that came up with innovative methods. Some of them were making masks in the vocational training centers, others produced detergents, others produced even juices. And then we even realized that other vocational education and training centers are now making Defense Forces shoes using leather that is commonly available in our county, in our various counties. And then we are encouraging the various counties to ensure that the various vocational education and training institutions should be tailor-made to a particular kind of training. For example, Nakuru County is endowed with issues tourism and agriculture. We want to see vocational education training centers that are speaking to tourism, so that we ensure that tourism goes up, and come the future, it is going to spur development. We want to see, they are also talking about fruits and even dairy, cows and goats. We want to see in those those vocational training institutions that youths are given the required skills. And after that, we also give them startup capital to be able to proceed after they complete their training. And that one will become a motivator for them to join the vocational training centers. Apart from that, we are developing the Ministry of Labor is developing a model so that all those well-trained youths from our polytechnics will be exported. We have been exporting tea, we export potatoes, we have been exporting tea. Why not labor? So we are talking about training them, accrediting them. Like if we have accredited nurses, we need a lot of nurses in Dubai. We need a lot of drivers in Dubai. We need a lot of mason in Saudi Arabia and very many other countries. I'm just naming a few. And so we need these vocational education and training institutions to be well developed, well resourced, so that we train and accredit the best skills, and we shall be able to export them outside, just like we export everything else. Otherwise, I think Nakuru County is doing fairly well also in the same manner. We have encouraged them to do even better in terms of the scheme of service for teachers of ECDE. We have also encouraged them to also look at centers of excellence when it comes to vocational education and training in every sub-county. The 11 sub-counties, we shall have one vocational school of excellence there that shall produce the best.
Kenya is for all of us. And education is a component without which development will not take place. Education at the earlier age, especially ECDE, is very, very key. And TVET is the new way to go in terms of development and infrastructure. We have interacted with the county, and as Chair has stipulated and we've all agreed, Nakuru has made great efforts at the various levels. They have shown a clear interpretation of the policies and the various agendas that had to be put into place. We're now going out into the fieldwork to see what has happened. We've seen everything on board, but now we're going to go out there and see exactly what happens out there. So far, a lot of effort has been put both in the buildings, both in the people, both in the skills that are being imparted onto the people. We're going to visit other counties as well. What we want to ensure as an education committee is that in the long run, equity is established across all counties, because that is the key thing. So you'll find some counties are able maybe to have more resources while others counties don't. Our task is to ensure that equality and equity are distributed in the long run, and this is what we are trying to do. So I think so far we've had the theoretical part, and we've listened to Nakuru, and they have done a great deal of efforts in both the TVET and the ECDE centers. And we just want to encourage that this is a discourse in the long run, because this is useful and helpful for all of us. And as legislators who have put into place the laws, we want to see how effective those laws are in the long run, where the gaps are, and how we can improve on everything that we want to be able to do. I think the future is bright. I think we agree that the Constitution 2010 was overwhelmingly voted for because of the devolution aspect. We want to make sure that devolution is working, and it is to a large extent. Thank you.
You realize that when we passed the new constitution, some functions were devolved. And in terms of education, what was devolved is the ECD centers, matters to do with early childhood and vocational training centers. Now, for the county government of Nakuru, we have made good strides, as the chair has confirmed, and we thank her for confirming that, because looking at, at the moment, we have about 2,400 ECD centers spread across the entire county, and with an enrollment of about 124,000. So this is a big number, and we are meant as a county to do the management and administration of early childhood in these respective early childhood centers. Now, under the leadership of His Excellency Lee Kinyanjui, over the last 3 years, we've managed to provide age-appropriate furniture to all these ECD centers. We've managed to make sure that we distribute learning materials to all these ECD centers. And again, in matters to do with recruitment of teachers, as Chair Senate has confirmed, over the last 3 years, we've managed to employ 372 teachers who are permanently employed and with pension. And at the moment, there is an advertisement going on. We'll be recruiting another 300. So we are looking at over 600 from the time His Excellency Ali Kenyaji took over reins of leadership in this county. So you can realize that strides have been made, but we'll still do more with your concurrence, giving us probably His Excellency another term to serve this great county of Nakuru. It matters to do with vocational training. At the moment, we have about 33 operational vocational training centers. These are spread out across the entire county of Nakuru. Now, in due course, we'll be commissioning another 15, which again will provide these technical courses to our youth. And with the assistance of His Excellency the Governor, we managed to ensure that these vocational training centers are equipped with the relevant tools to aid our learners in education. We have also recruited instructors who are manning these vocational training centers. So far, we managed to recruit a total of about 129 instructors, and we are actually now recruiting another 51. So you can see that in matters to do with education, the county government of Nakuru is taking it very, very seriously. And going forward, we are going to improve on the areas that we've been guided by the Senate. But so far, so good, and we thank you, the Senate, for being around.